One BRRRR deal can change your mindset, but multiple BRRRR deals can change your life. And if you want to get to the point where you're doing multiple BRRRR deals, which means you're adding multiple rental properties with little to none of your own money, the best way to do that is to systemize the process. This is the last step of the BRRRR method I want to talk about in this video. This is part 5 of a 5-part series where I've walked through the B, the buy of the BRRRRs, the R, the rehab of the BRRRRs, the R, the rent of the BRRRRs, the R, the refinance of the BRRRRs, and now we are into the systemize, the S of the BRRRRs. This used to be called repeat. The last R was, or the last letter was R, not S, and it was repeat. Repeat means go back and do what you did, and there's no real leg up there. There's no real gain there, in my opinion. So what I did was changed it to S, which is systemize, which is what I want to talk about in this video with you. I bought over $51 million worth of real estate with the BRRRR method, not the BRRRR method, because I systemized the process. The biggest difference between amateurs and professionals is creating systems around what you are looking to do. This goes for any line of business. If you want to get efficient and you want to scale, which scaling usually requires efficiency, you need to create systems that allow you to do that. So I'm going to go over each letter and give you the systems that I have learned to help you systemize that letter so you can move on to the next letter faster, which allows you to do more deals in less time, which means you're adding rentals faster, which means you are building wealth faster. Hopefully that makes sense. Systems are the key. I mean, think about it. If you create systems around the B, the buy, you're able to buy more properties, and the more properties you buy, the more leads you get, the more money you'll make, and the more wealth you'll build. If you build system around R, the rehab step, you'll be able to do more rehabs in less time, faster, which will save you holding costs and save you money, but also allow you to maybe add 5 rentals instead of 2. And adding 5 rentals instead of 2 will literally equate to millions and millions of dollars in the future. If you create systems around R, the rent step, you're able to approve tenants faster, get better tenants in, which will create less of a headache and which will create more cash flow for you. And if you create systems around the R refinance step, you're able to get the right funding at the right time, at the right rate that allows you to put more money in your pocket. You need to create systems around each step, and I'm going to give you my systems now. If you're ready to learn my systems, please hit that like button now. All right, let's start with B or buy. There are 2 systems that you need to focus on for this step. One is the lead source system and the other is the funding system. Let's tackle them in that order. There are 40 to 50 different ways to get leads and get deals coming in your pocket. There's the paid way and the free way. Let's go over a quick example on how you can systemize each of those options. Let's go the free route first. Let's say you want to go with real estate agents as a free networking lead source. Rather than just looking around for agents or talking to people you know that are real estate agents, why don't you create systems around growing your agent buyer pool? People inside my community know that we give you something called an REI toolkit when you start, which is just a fancy way of organizing your entire process. And we have a way to organize your real estate agent leads. Rather than just ho-hum text them when you feel like it, there is a place for you to put down the agent's name, what brokerage they're with, what types of deals they bring, what their experience level is, if you've done deals with them before, then also more importantly, when is the last time you contacted them? Super, super simple. It's just a fancy Excel or Google sheet that we put together. You can do it on your own if you want. But the thing is, you now have a system around contacting real estate agents to stay top of mind. Unless they're your best friend, they're probably not thinking about you, especially if you're a new real estate investor when they come across one of these fixer-uppers or handyman specials. So what you need to do is have a system to, let's say, every 2 weeks, contact an agent that's on your list and build out that agent list as well so that you are on top of mind. You can have coffees and lunches and dinners or whatever you want, drinks, whatever it is, but just keep in contact with those agents. And if you do that consistently, you will start to get lead flow and you will start to get deals. And that is a simple system around getting free lead sources. On the flip side, if you're willing to pay for lead sources, let's say you want to do direct mail, there is a system you can build. Luckily, technology and AI does a lot of this for you, but you still have to click the buttons that you can target a specific zip code with a certain type of property you're looking for and create systems that consistently mail them letters or postcards every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month, whatever it is, but you have to consistently do that, create systems around it. Now, this is a lot of work. I fully understand that. So this is why the first filter of this is picking 2 to 3 types of lead sources that you want to systemize around. There's 40 to 50, as I mentioned earlier. You don't have time to, or probably the skill set to create systems around every single one of those. So I tell people to dabble in 5 or 10 different lead sources. Plenty of lead source videos here on YouTube I've created, and there's other ones that other people have created as well. Shoot, I'll make a note and I'll do another lead source video if you want me to. Let me know in the comments if you want me to create a video about how to get leads. I can easily do that for you. But what you're going to do is just pick 5 or 10, dabble in them a little bit. Don't create systems around it because that'll be a pain. And then the 2 or 3 that you resonate most with, that you have the most connections or most resources with, systemize those 2 or 3 and boom, you're off to the races. All right, the other side of systemization for the buy step is systemizing the initial funding that's needed to buy these distressed properties. Now, there are a ton of different sources from private lenders to hard money lenders, but if you create a system around continuing to check on your hard money lenders and your private money lenders, making sure you have updated guidance limits with them, making sure they understand where you are in the buying process, so that when you do get a deal under contract through your systemized lead sources, you have the funding behind it and funding doesn't hold it up. So this one is something you can create a spreadsheet around, but just make sure to stay in constant contact. I know that doesn't sound like a system, but it is if you're going to forget with these lenders so that you're able to strike quickly once you do get the property. All right, let's move on to step 2, the rehab step, and let's talk about systems around this. There are 2 main things you're going to want to systemize here as well. The first is that generalized scope of work. Now, if you watch the rehab video of this 5-part series, I gave you where you can find my free analyzer tool for rehabbing that can help you a little bit for sure. If you're in my community, you get a souped up version of that. Regardless, you need to create a system around quickly estimating what the rehab cost will be in a BRRRR deal, and then take it to the next level when you have it under contract and create a scope of work, a detailed, specific scope of work. This one takes time, but I'm telling you, if you can take a 6-month rehab and get it done in 3 months, you're able to do twice as much, or you're able to do 2 at one time and do 4 times as much. I think that math was out. If not, regardless, you get my point. If you have a detailed scope of work that talks about the order of operations, that has what you actually want, like you have a specific flooring you like from Home Depot, or cabinetry you like, or countertops you like, or toilets you like, have that SKU number on your Excel spreadsheet and have a detailed scope of work. So you can just click the button, build it out, and order it on Home Depot, or send it to a contractor to do the same. So really focus, and this is going to take some time, energy, and effort on creating systems around that scope of work and creating a detailed scope of work. It's a big lift at first. Your first 3 or 4 rehab projects, if you're building it out and organizing it, then it can become a breeze. I wish real estate was easier. I'm making it as simple as possible. It is not easy. It requires you to do things like this, but I promise they do work and they will help, or I wouldn't be telling you. The other side is systemizing your general contracting. So what you're going to do here is create an A, B, and C squad of contractors. This isn't going to happen on the first rehab. However, get multiple bids, as I mentioned in the rehab video, but then have your A list of contractors that if you need to, you can go to them last minute. They'll prioritize you and they'll give you fair pricing. You should always get multiple bids if possible, but if you're scaling, it's not always possible. So what you do is you have your A list, your B list, your C list. Your A is people you know, you've worked with, you have a personal relationship. You're going to bid against them when you can, but sometimes you're busy, life happens, you at least have them built in to go do the work and you know they'll do a fair price. Your B list is who you bid against and you always are switching between your A and your B squad. Then your C list is just people you can go to that you know you can get the job done. It's hard to build those lists out though. You do that by networking, talking with other real estate investors, and talk with other contractors as well. But again, this just takes focus and discipline to build these systems, but I promise it pays off. All right, now let's talk about the rent step and talk about systems around this one. Again, this one's a lot about organization and utilizing technology. You need to create systems that have a standard way to approve tenants that you're doing with technology, or you're hiring a third party out to do. You want to figure out your minimum credit score if you're going to use that as criteria. You need to figure out your minimum income, your minimum background check, your minimal criminal history. Figure out your standards, stick with them, and this makes the whole process a lot faster. There's no maybe this, maybe that. It's black or white. Do they check these boxes? Great. great. They can move on to the next step. Do they not? They're gone. Tell them why. Easy peasy. It's a good way to get quicker at it. So come up with your standards and then utilize technology to help you be efficient. There's technology out there that helps you sift through applications. We use AppFolio for our property management, and we have about 300 of my doors inside of that, and we have about another 100 doors from other people that we manage for. So if you're in St. Louis, we'll manage your rentals for you for a very, very, very good price. Regardless of that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use technology to quickly sift through applications. And AppFolio, the reason I brought them up is because they have this new feature called Leasing Lisa. It's AI that talks to prospective tenants and has some initial conversations to at least get them to the next step. What's more efficient than not having to talk to somebody and having technology do it for you? And then the next step, when you're showing these properties, use technology like ShowMojo or Tenant Turner that have electronic lock boxes, so you don't have to be there every time to show the property. Now, there are scammers out there that if they get your lockbox code, they will go in there, take their own pictures, and throw the property on Craigslist for a cheap price and try to rent it out and get paid a deposit from the actual tenant, which is super sketchy, but it happens. But these technologies can get around that for the most part. They are electronic lock boxes. They give one-time codes that you utilize, kind of like a super box if you're an agent, utilize to let them in, make sure it's the right person by verifying their information on their driver's license before they let them in, and it's not just a code that everybody can get. So technology is catching up with the scammers as always in all walks of life, and this one's no different. All right, the last system that I want to talk about is the refinance step, the last R, and creating systems around that. This is having all your ducks in a row and having somewhat organization around your small local banks and your long-term DSCR lenders. FasterFreedom Capital is a long-term DSCR lender as well as a short-term hard money lender. So if you're looking for money now and money long-term, go to FasterFreedomCapital.com. We can help you out there. However, build multiple funding sources at all steps, and this is no different. You need multiple small local banks that you can bring a project to, but you need to have a conversation with them before you even get the property under contract. Because one small local bank may say, we'll do 20-year mortgages at X% and we need 6 months seasoning. Another small local bank say, we will do 25 years at X percentage and we only need 3 months seasoning. And another local bank may say something different, and all three of them may have different areas of town that they prefer lending in. You need to know this ahead of time so that you send the right property down the right pipeline. Same with DSCR lenders. You need to have a system around having 3 to 4 DSCR lenders, 3 to 4 small local banks, and pairing the right property in the right area with the right long-term lending source. If you're able to do that, you're not getting multiple bids from multiple banks and pissing the other one off because you're bidding them against each other, and just creates a mess. So have systems and build relationships now so that when it comes to it, you're able to go right to the bank and have it move quickly and follow their rules and their expectations. And guess what that does? That also ups their guidance limit with you and allows you to do more loans with them. The biggest thing here is thinking like a CEO and not like a contractor. Systems are what separate those that want from those that already have. Chick-fil-A is a great example. They sell chicken. It's great. It's fine. My kids love it, but they have the best systems of any fast food joint, maybe besides McDonald's, in the world. Think about it. I go to Chick-fil-A most Saturday mornings with my kiddos. They wish we could go Sunday, but we can't. And I get in there, go through the drive-thru, and there's not a person over 20 years old in there. They're all high school kids running Chick-fil-A's on a busy Saturday morning with the drive-thru lines in the parking lot and with a stacked inside. Nobody's freaking out because they have systems and processes in place. Now, I understand you're not trying to franchise a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's, but the point is systems are where the value is. Systems is where efficiency is created. It's not my favorite thing to do in the world. Either buckle up and do it, or hire somebody or partner with somebody like I did, an engineer, Lucas, that is okay with figuring the systems out. I promise you it'll be worth the equity you give up or the money you pay them to be able to do more, faster, better, stronger. Hopefully you appreciated this. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, comment anything you want. Let me know what you thought about this series if you want more content like this, and I will see you on the next one. Check out this video over here to learn more about real estate.